Hi everyone, and welcome once again to TDL Live, your weekly look at Apple news and rumors. It is 8:59. We're getting an early start because look how full this is.
It's deceiving.
Adam Ford, Ryan Ritchey with you. If you're new to this setup, we gather here around the digital hearth every Monday night at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific, and we talk about the Apple news and rumors of the week.
Would you look at us?
And the week to come. And we encourage you to interact by sending an iChat to TDL Live or AOL Instant Messenger TDL Live. Hey, use that AIM application on your phone.
Yeah.
There's some improvements to that, by the way. There were some updates this week.
That's what my phone tells me.
Did you update it?
I updated everything. About half the things I use, but I updated them anyway.
Okay, and with that, shall we go into the bowl? Well, you dive in. I'm going to take care of some
housekeeping.
Housekeeping. Thank
Very good.
You go for it.
I'm going to mix it up a little bit because there's a surprising amount in here.
Oh, big font.
It's a big one.
Font.
Oh, Zune guy. You are silly. Zune guy fed up with Zune seeks to cover up tattoos.
Remember the Zune guy?
I kind of do.
Got the Zune tattoo.
That I remember.
Got another Zune tattoo.
Yeah, I missed that part.
He's not happy.
That's what I hear. He's not happy. He's throwing in the towel, as they say. So do you want to? Why don't you just? God, you do it.
That's a pass. That's a pass.
Well, I'm lateraling.
It's a lateral. We'll make sure it's not forward.
No.
By the way, we are a week out from the start of the football season. I'm sorry, a month.
What?
Whoa.
A month. We're a month.
That's wrong.
We are a month out.
We've never been good with numbers, but that just doesn't seem.
The worst
that's
one
just
yet.
not right.
So the Zune guy, he's very upset. He had an expletive-laden YouTube clip. We couldn't put it on our family-friendly show here.
That's right.
But he's not happy. Basically, I guess he expected more. Microsoft had given him a Zune. It would have been funny if Apple gave him a Zune. Microsoft gave him a Zune. There apparently was some sort of promised trip to Redmond.
Right.
And then that trip never happened, so now he's mad. And he's so mad he's going to get rid of his tattoos.
Yeah, but you wish
What have we learned?
Were the temporary ones.
Well, I tell you what, it could have been worse. What if he had gotten a .Mac tattoo? And then 3 months later, what do you mean you're changing the name? All right.
It's a good way to date yourself.
Let me go in and maybe I'll pass this to you. Date yourself?
Yeah.
Oh, you mean like...
Yeah. I got a pass.
It's only fair.
Wozniak to speak at Intel Developer Forum. So Woz, everybody knows the Woz. He's going to be one of the speakers at the next Intel Developer Forum, which will be held August 19th through 21st at the Moscone Center West in San Francisco. He and others will speak on crossing the chasm between humans and machines.
Could I do an impression for you? This is...
Is that in anybody's best interest?
This is Steve Wozniak arriving at the Intel Developer Forum.
Okay.
Am I out of the shot, Net Girl?
Indeed.
I'm not on there. Let's be.
It's catching up.
Let the folks at home know what that was.
This is pretty good. That was pretty good.
It's me.
That was pretty smooth.
That's Woz coming in on his segue,
pretty-
ladies and gentlemen.
pretty
Thank you. All right, are we ready to move on?
Yes, now that we've gotten that out of the way, we can continue.
All right. No, you're good.
Oh, am I? Oh, yeah,
because
you
that was a
passed.
pass.
You
All the
passed.
passes are done now.
You passed. All right.
By the way, if you want, don't forget TDL Live is available on demand. So if you want to see that again later, just head to the website, click on the on demand button, look for TDL Live.
And who wouldn't want to do that? 2 weeks later, New Yorkers wait 4.5 hours for an iPhone. This doesn't surprise me, but basically the deal is people are still waiting outside for iPhones for long amounts of time. The barricades are still up in front of the Fifth Avenue store. Lines stretch as far as the eye can see. We're really just down 58th Street. So
Well,
Not surprised at all.
so let's talk about the whole line situation.
Yeah.
So every day, people are still lining up, and what I'm not quite understanding is there are shipments arriving apparently,
Correct.
on a near daily basis.
Correct.
And
Depending on your store.
And so at a lot of these stores, I mean, I'm wondering, and maybe some viewers can help us out, are folks, is everyone getting a phone, basically? Have we heard? Are people in line for
don't know.
3 hours and then, oh, sorry.
I don't know. I mean, I imagine that has to be happening somewhere. Somebody showing up at the store.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully, they're not standing in line for 4.5 hours just to find out that there's not a phone. What I did notice when I was checking out the lines 2 weeks ago was that they were the employees were working the line, if you will, handing out these.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. I'm still thinking about the segue. It's fine.
Handing out these Post-it notes with some coveted information.
Okay.
So I'm wondering if they're sort of counting and sort of saying, you're not. If all these people buy one, you're not going to get one. Save yourself some time, or you could be the first person in line for tomorrow if you want to wait overnight.
Right.
So, which I don't know. Maybe you want to do after 5.5 hours and just say, the heck with it. I've already devoted this much of my life to getting this thing.
And before we went on the air, I was asking you, what's the deal on AT&T stock? And you were explaining to me, as it was explained to you at an AT&T store, how they're handling stock on their end.
Say that again.
A call list.
Oh, at AT&T.
Yes.
AT&T. Very good.
Yes.
Very good. So you can put your information. You can basically join a call list, which, after some further discovery, is allegedly a national call list, and you'll be called when your number comes up in the list, and the phone will arrive at the store. You'll get called. You'll come in. You'll get your phone. But it's a national list, not a store-by-store list.
Okay.
Based on the information that I received, which could very easily be inaccurate. So I throw that out there. But the time frame, which was what was really disturbing, they said between 5 and 25 days. So hope you don't need it in a rush, because you're not going to get it. Or you could be one of the lucky few who gets it in 5 days, which, if you're not willing to wait around for hours, that's not a bad deal.
Now, someone you knew who got on the list, or at least
Right.
thinks they're on the list, was told about 5 days when they got on the list.
Right.
And it's been more than 5 days at this point.
Yeah, it was well more than 5 days.
Without
heck
any-
with it. I'm going to just show up at the Apple store and get it there.
Okay. We have a question in the chat regarding any iPhone update forthcoming. Well, the 2.1 software has been
2.0.1.
I think it's 2.1.
Is that right?
I think so.
Okay.
Has been seeded to select developers. It's in beta. So hopefully that'll be forthcoming. I know I hope so, because I'm still getting some random restarts and crashes with programs.
I'm willing to bet it'll be recommended for everybody.
It might be when we do this update's recommended for. So that should be forthcoming. It's a good question. We don't know a date. If I had to, I'm gonna say 3 weeks. Within 3 weeks. Dig it.
3 weeks.
You heard it here.
Okay.
See, we could go on and just pretend like, well, our sources say within 3 weeks. Because there are some rumor sites out there. I'm not going to mention any names. I'm really not either. This is where a lesser host would say the name, like under his breath. I'm not going to do it. You thought I was. But they'll say, like, Apple working on the next generation of the towers. Well,
Probably true.
no beep. Whose turn is it to pull?
This is me, so it's all you.
Okay. We don't do that. We just give you the real facts here.
Ooh, that's colorful.
So we heard about the iPhone sales, and Apple saying, "Hey, we sold 1 million phones," and then some analysts are like, "Well, you sold 1 million phones to AT&T and Vodafone. That doesn't mean 1 million people bought them individually." AT&T seems very happy with the numbers.
Yeah.
But those cats over at Verizon, they're playing it cool. And we have news on Cool too a little bit later. But Verizon says, iPhone? Yeah, I guess it came out.
They say iPhone, schmyphone.
They give it the old brush off.
Yeah.
They're like, iPhone came out. They're saying it had, quote, minimal impact on their customer numbers. They lost over 11% of their landline customers as they moved to wireless and cable-based phones. Mm-hmm. So this is from iPod Observer. And, I guess they have a lot of of users. They're suggesting, though, that most of the iPhone customers came from smaller carriers like Sprint, Nextel. Boy, kick them when they're down. Way to go, Verizon.
I don't know that I really buy that.
I don't buy it either.
I think that, yeah, I mean, you got to cover it somehow. You can't just play it off. I mean, you may as well deal with it. And
Well,
not, you know.
let's break it down. If you look at the first weekend, oh boy, it's numbers. Get out those calculators, folks, because we have a tendency. I'm pulling you in on this.
Oh, good.
Let's say, okay, a million phones first weekend.
Right.
Let's pretend a million people actually bought those phones. This running of the numbers, by the way, brought to you by Ameritrade.
That was okay. Very good.
They didn't even know. Okay, a million phones, a million people have phones. Well, time out. That's not a million in the U.S. That's a million worldwide.
Right.
So let's cut that down. Let's say there were 600,000 phones sold in the U.S.
Okay.
Let's say
500,000. It's a better number for me.
all right, 500,000.
Okay.
Let's say half of those people already had iPhones.
Okay, 250,000.
Vis-a-vis, i.e., that is to say, Latin class, thank you.
Yeah.
250,000 already had the iPhone, so they were already AT&T customers.
Okay.
So even if the remaining 250,000 customers were all Verizon customers, Verizon has, I believe, it's close to or over 30 million subscribers. So even if all those people left Verizon, you could be Verizon and say, minimal impact, when in reality you're looking at the numbers and, if this continues each week, this is the number, we're going to have serious problems.
Yeah, but I don't think you have any other phone that comes out that causes that amount of fallout. So let's say that is true. Let's say those numbers are true.
Probably not.
Again, we'll assume they are. I don't think you have that fallout from any other phone release ever. So here we are. I'll pull.
Go ahead. I'm just interacting with those folks who are checking in via, oh my goodness, and our resident Latin expert letting me know
Whatever.
Well,
Latin schmat.
I did not pronounce the vis-a-vis correctly, but that, sir, is because that was an online course. I did not get the pronunciation guide.
Should get you Rosetta Stone.
Rosetta Stone would have helped.
After a hectic 48 hours, Aurora Faint is back online. So last week we told you about some foolery with them. They inadvertently took your information, and we're like, we're just going to store this on our servers.
Phone numbers.
Didn't really realize what they were doing, which I buy it. I mean, it seems like a young bunch of guys who, or girls, guys and gals, I don't know.
Girls can program.
Yeah, who created this game, and it really is a pretty cool game. And they were like, our bad. We didn't realize we were doing that. So Apple pulled down the game for a little while.
48 hours.
For 48 hours. And they're like, you need to get your stuff in order because you can't do this kind of shady. And we're like, yeah, it really is kind of shady. We are sorry. So we're going to redo things, put out another version, and tell people about what's going on.
So we mentioned last week that you are... you're a player of the game. Well, just in general, really.
Hey now.
But of the game.
Hey now.
And so did you delete it? How did you ride out this 48-hour storm?
No, because I think I said last week that I'm not going to do anything differently because I didn't really believe that it was a malicious spyware attempt to get all of my, because I'm gullible and easily worked over apparently. So I didn't do anything differently at all. And my phone told me that I should update, so I did. And
to your knowledge, your contact information's safe. Well, they worked.
This is me not really, whatever.
Interesting. You say that now, but when they start calling your friends. Hey, folks, speaking of calling your friends, there's a friend of mine that tomorrow morning will be getting a call at 5 a.m. from Hannah, Montana.
What?
If you head over to HannahMontanaCalls.com, this is a Disney promotion. And boy, I wish they were a sponsor because I'm going to play this up. you can set up a phone call, right? It's designed for parents who want to wake up their kids to get ready for school.
This is terrible. Why are you telling me about this? Somebody's going to call me.
I know. To get ready for school. Now, why you would do this in the middle of the summer, I don't know. But if you head over to HannahMontanaCalls.com, you put in the number and the name of the person, and you pick whether you want them to get up or whether they have to get their books ready for school.
Can you pick the time?
Yes.
No, this is absolutely the worst thing
ever. And they even suggest, it says, now make sure the call's for an hour before school so they're up and ready to go.
Oh, my.
So I have a couple calls ready to go out tomorrow.
It's like the old Google Maps exploit where you could, if you go to search for something, you can have it, you're like, call it, and it opens up a little box where you're supposed to put in your phone number, and then your phone rings, and then it connects you with whoever that was, like Pizza Hut or whatever. And there's nothing to prevent you from putting anybody else's phone number in there. So you put somebody else's, the old adage goes, you put somebody else's phone number in there, their phone rings, they go, hello, and then the phone rings on the other end, and it's just confusion and hysteria. But at any rate, I feel like I'm getting a Hannah Montana phone call, which is... Well, I can't say I'm thrilled about it.
Again,
and I appreciate you bringing that up.
No problem. 5 a.m. is the earliest time, though, so
that's
you might want to
miserable.
You might want to put the phone on silent.
I think I'm just going to turn it off.
So there you go. With that, so Aurora Faint, it seems to be fine. It was seemingly harmless. It was just that they probably used some programming hooks that they didn't need to necessarily. They took an easy way out, let's say, or they didn't know quite how to program it.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
No harm, no foul.
With that, boy, you're really upset about that phone call.
I am a little distraught about it.
All right. Oh, we have someone disgruntled with their iPhone 3G checking in.
Oh.
Won't charge my iPhone using third-party player like my iPhone. So this is someone who bought the 3G iPhone.
Yeah.
I believe it was in the report from the USA Today. Their review of the phone said that some charging things wouldn't work with the iPhone 3G, which doesn't make any sense. It's the same pinout.
It doesn't. But when iPhone first came out, we saw the same sort of thing. We saw, your accessories are not going to be compatible with the phone because it is fundamentally different. Now, phone to phone, should that really change? I don't know. I can't imagine. I mean, it's kind of upsetting if you have all this third-party stuff that you had for your first phone. You're like, you have a lot of money tied up in that. And you've got to ditch it all because you don't have anything to use it with now.
Right.
I mean, it's a little concerning. I mean, I think that I would like to know whether or not the folks at the store knew anything about that and could say, well, you have an old iPhone, just so you know, FYI, your old stuff might not be compatible. You sure you really want this? And then you at least know up front that this could happen. So I wasn't on the paper, but it's all right. Go ahead.
Wow. New Macs to get custom platform. Just to point out, this news comes from many, many different blogs and various Apple news and rumor sites. After the show, you'll be able to go into the forums and see the show notes and follow back to the full stories to check them out at your leisure. Okay, so up next we have talk of new Macs to get a custom platform. Here's the skinny. Intel, which of course those are the chips of choice right now and for the foreseeable future for Apple, they have what they call reference designs or reference plans where basically it's hey, why don't you use Intel processor and this Intel integrated graphics chip and et cetera, et cetera. So what Apple's saying is, well, we're gonna use your chips. We're kind of locked into that for the processor, but we're going to do our own design work beyond that.
Yeah.
So the concept here being one of my gripes in the past has been, since they went to the Intel processors, they will never be able to be faster, for example, than a PC because they're all using the same stuff. Well, in one way they could do this is they could eliminate like bottlenecks with bandwidth and that sort of thing if they use certain chips. They also can make devices smaller if they want to make a MacBook tablet or whatever they might want to do.
Well, it's kind of like what they did with MacBook Air.
Right. That's where this kind of started.
Yeah, it's kind of where it got its birthplace, and I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to be nice to see them, architecture something that's going to be faster than what you would normally get out of the box in a whatever, Core Duo chip or whatever. So I'm excited to see what they do with it. I think it should be good.
I'm excited to see what you do with the next news story.
Bingo. Let's do it.
Maybe you'll tell the fine folks about the blog after this, too.
I might. We'll see if they're good. Apple now posting near daily Mobile Me outage updates. All of you people who paid for your email, you might not get it if you're one of that lucky 1%. So 1% of you may have experienced an email outage over the past couple days. From what we understand, it is still not fully resolved, although Apple is working 24/7 to restore that. And there are, if you go into your little control panel, system preferences.
Control panel?
So, some people dabble in both worlds. System preferences, bottom right, you can click and it'll take you to a support document that's supposedly updated.
Do you click on start?
You could if you're accessing it from, I think, Firefox or something of that nature that would be stored in there.
Okay.
At any rate, your email is probably not working if you're one of that 1%.
So they're not going to email you the update.
So they're not going to email you the status because that would be silly. So it's just basically like, what's going on?
And if your email is working, don't forget you can sign up for the mailing list.
You can. You can do that right from digitallifestyle.tv.
Yep.
Join the mailing list. First mailing's coming out soon, from what I understand.
That's what I hear down in the mailroom.
If those of you signed up some while ago and haven't received anything, don't necessarily have to sign up again. We can take care of that.
We'll take care of it. So the Mobile Me. So there's this nameless, faceless person who's doing these updates. I think it's probably the PR folks, but I don't get what changed so dramatically.
Yeah.
Going from .Mac to Mobile Me. Yes, push, blah blah blah. But what was the actual infrastructure change that's causing all this trouble? Because
that's it.
You would think though, if that was it, that you could somehow just take that offline until that portion of it is ready.
Don't know really what the deal is. I mean, it almost seems like through this whole thing they just got caught with like this thing just wasn't ready for some reason. It's really, that's the part that I don't really understand is, I guess there's hiccups, although I've never had an email hiccup with any free service.
No, let alone
a paid service.
Right.
But I don't know why it was rolled out at the time that it was if it wasn't ready. I mean, this could have been easily something that did not have to roll out with the phone exactly. I mean, I don't know.
And along with that, tomorrow on the blog, thedigital-lifestyle.tv, click on blog. Today I hooked up my phone to sync it.
Yeah.
And I was surprised to see the right-hand side of the screen fill with this basically ad for Mobile Me. Mm-hmm. And it said, hey, don't you want to try Mobile Me now? And I'm thinking there were buttons that were not now, I believe, or learn more.
Yeah.
There wasn't one that said yes when it works, which would have been nice.
Yeah.
But couldn't we just, why don't you get to work?
Yeah.
Why don't we lay off trying to get more people to sign up till we get to work? I'm just saying.
I know that some people were potentially thinking about, since it was advertised as push, switching over business sort of stuff to it. And could you imagine if you'd done that and you're one of this 1% that's out and it's business email? I mean, that's like...
And I believe there are still some emails that are missing.
Yeah, I understand that there are emails that are missing, that they're starting to... Timestamps might be wrong. Mm-hmm. There may be just a slew of issues as they try to recover everything. I don't know. It's very odd. Very strange.
Out of character.
Definitely out of character.
We'll say out of character. I think we commented more.
It continues to be out of character.
And there were even some conspiracy theories about that last week if you check on the show's page. You can watch last week's show. And don't forget, on that page, there's a iTunes button up in the top right-hand corner. Click on that, and then you'll get episodes right inside iTunes.
Soon to be on iTunes, from what I understand.
That's not what I heard.
Can't be confirmed at the moment, but I think it might be coming.
And speaking of the blog, this story is from our very own thedigital-lifestyle.tv/blog. Latest Google killer, a dud. You like how I read my own headline as if I didn't know what it was? So, you may have heard about cuil.com. It's not cuil. It's not
No,
cuil.
cuil.
Although you might be ill when you see the search results. But they made a point of pointing out that it's cool. Cool. So instead of I'll Google it,
I'll cool it.
cool it. Well,
I'm gonna go cool that.
I would suggest not cooling it.
You could, but it would probably be a waste of time.
All the time people slap that, as you said earlier, slap that beta tag on websites.
Just throw it up there. We'll just assume it's not right.
If they'd put a beta tag on, maybe we could cut them some slack.
Absolutely.
But if you do a search for, say, the digital lifestyle, you'll see pictures of Charlie Brown, links to things that have nothing to do with us. And it's all in the blog, and you can play along it and do the same search.
Well, let's give them a little background on what this is all about. So,
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, go ahead.
it's a new search engine that debuted today. It's from some past Google alum, I should say, who think that they, can do one better than Google. They've claimed to have indexed a whole slew of websites. I don't remember the number off the top of my head, but it was
a big number.
Since Google stopped telling you how many, what their index was like,
Right.
The size of their index, but that the last time it was reported, it was far less than what they're saying that they've indexed. But when you go to do a search on cuil.com, it just the results are kind of like irrelevant. It's like, okay, you have all this stuff maybe. But show me something that's relevant.
Right.
There's no relevancy to it.
Right. There's no relevancy, and you're seeing very few results per page.
Right.
Because the concept here is, it goes right into whatever the article is. So there's like a paragraph of each search result, which would be great if it worked. But it doesn't really work.
The concept's there, just not.
And there have been these other search engines that have come up, and it's going to be a Google killer and all that. And I guess it's just because these folks are from Google, but this was on CNN.com all day. I saw it on a lot of news sites, and frankly, it's not ready for prime time. That's
It's certainly not. We'll keep an eye on it, but it's not.
Why don't you take a small one?
Okay.
We're short on time.
It's only how it's folded.
I understand that, but we're short on time. We may have some stragglers.
HP Touch Smart. That's the extent of the article.
Next, now.
So we don't know if you've seen it yet, but HP has put out their Touch Smart computer, which is you see it on the commercials and whatnot, and you see people like, I'm conducting an orchestra, and their pictures are flying all over the place, and they're just doing all kinds of crazy touch stuff, which is kind of cool. It's kind of cool. I'm not gonna lie, it's kind of cool.
Okay.
I'll give your take.
Okay. Well, it's basically the way the iPhone.
Pessimist.
Not true. The iPhone interface, if you would imagine that on an iMac.
Yeah.
And a couple of things strike me. One, why isn't it getting more hype? There's a lot of ads for it.
That's a good point.
You would think if this system works reliably,
we should hear stuff everywhere about
because if Apple put it out, we would hear about it everywhere.
People would be touching everything.
But two, maybe this is why we're not hearing so much about it. Vista itself doesn't have any touch capability in it. So whatever you're doing with the touch interface on this machine is probably HP specific software, so maybe you can do things with your pictures, do the pinching thing and do that. But it's not like you're suddenly going to write a Word document by moving things around and doing all that.
No, it would be great if in like the photo editing tool, the way that you take out red eye, it was like that. You give it a little Three Stooges.
Yeah, maybe the sounds are there too. But I think at some point all of this touch stuff is gonna end up with a big patent showdown, because everybody tends to claim ownership of different parts of this. I see a patent showdown, and so I hope our legal eagle is on these lawsuit of the week stories, because I don't know what's going to happen. This might be the last news story of the night.
Why?
Well, this could take a while, because this is the Steve Jobs health situation.
Okay, is that going to take a while?
Yeah.
Well, do you want to talk about
Well,
it?
no, I'm just going to upset you by not talking about it. So, Steve Jobs.
I'll do it.
Oh, stop.
I'll do it.
Stop. Steve Jobs, there have been concerns about his health, especially after the earnings results, and someone very apologetically said, hey, what's the deal with Steve's health? And they said it's a private matter. So, Steve decides to deal with this in a way that only he would by calling up a reporter, I believe at the Times, I could be wrong about that,
I don't know.
and said, hey, I think you're a slime ball. And that's the quote. And a various expletive was in there somewhere. And by the way, here's my health situation, but it's off the record. And so then the reporter said basically, well, since it's off the record, I can't say what he said, but rest assured, he doesn't have cancer. Now, there's this debate. Do people need to know this? Is this important to investors? Is this just kind of a gossipy thing? My take has been from the beginning, it doesn't matter. Just Apple needs to say, hey, if for some reason Steve is no longer with the company, we have a plan. End of story. For me as a shareholder, that's enough. So, I don't even know what his cholesterol scores are. I don't need to, that's enough for me.
He's eating at the cafe. They're probably in check. Good stuff there.
It was a big week of news. We're leaving them. We're leaving them in the bowl.
Man down.
But I'm sure those stories will come up as blog entries. Don't peek, no peeking. And so be sure to check out the blog. We'll talk about them on the forum as well. And if we really, miss something key, I'm sure we can bring it up next week. Everyone will be happy.
No, because that's old news. It's like the AT&T minute commercials. They're still fine. Some people don't have rollover minutes. I don't agree with that.
HannahMontanaCalls.com, 5 a.m. call for Adam Ford.
Please don't.
The number 21. We gotta go. Farewell, everybody. We'll see you next week. I'm giving you the farewell. We don't have any of this stuff ready here.
Before something bad happens.
What could possibly go wrong? All right, we'll talk to you later, everyone. Bye-bye.